little duckies, and welcome to That Review Show. With me, as always, my partner from a Republican state, Marco Viteri. Say hi, Marco.
What's going on, my little fuckies? Yeah, that's right. We are a red state. We love Trump. We don't know why, but I think it has to do with witchcraft. That's what I'm going with. There's no other logical reason.
It is Cuba. There's a lot of Cubans out there. Could be a lot of brujeria.
Going off. Yeah, well, you know what? The Cubans down here, the reason they're voting Republican is because they hate JFK. JFK ruined it for everyone in the Democratic Party, and that's why they'll vote for any asshole in the RNC. So now we're here, but fuck that. Let's talk about something fun. Let's go back to...
We could spend all day talking about Cubans and fucking JFK. Oh, it's just like a family reunion for me. All right, Marco, before we continue today's, start today's review, we need to address something very important. A big mistake that we made last week. We reviewed Super Mario Brothers, and we actually forgot to rate the film. So in the vein of coming up with rating systems that somehow relate to the film, I'm going to give Super Mario Brothers 3.5 out of 5 mushrooms.
Okay. That's a fair rating. I'm going to go ahead and round that up and give it a 4 out of 5. Green 1-up mushrooms. Great film. Check out the last vid. On with the show.
On with the show. All right, Marco, speaking of on with the show, will you tell our one fan what movie we're reviewing today?
So today we are reviewing the 90s cult classic Clerks by writer-director Kevin Smith.
That's right, Clerks. Kevin Smith's first major film. A small little black and white independent film full of running jokes, sarcastic comments, and just all-around great humor.
Yeah, it's basically the film that made me go. I wanted to just fashion my life around the shenanigans that happened at the Quick Stop. I was like, why don't we have a Quick Stop? We just have this awful shitty 7-Eleven. Why don't we have one of those things down here? And it was great. It was the first time I ever saw a movie and it made me want to make my own movie. I was like, wow, if this guy's just filming stuff about his everyday life at his job, and I'm like, I could do that. As it turns out, I can't, but you can always dream, right?
It's funny because I actually got into filmmaking before I saw Clerks. In fact, you introduced me to Kevin Smith in college, and Clerks wasn't even my first film. Dogma was my first View Askew universe film, and before that, I was a fan of Empire Records, and I always wanted to work in a place that was like Empire Records, but that place doesn't really exist. And then when I finally saw Clerks, it's just like, oh, that's the place I've been working at my whole life. These are the exact...
That fucking place exists all over.
That's the conversations
It doesn't have to be a convenience store. It could be at Publix or at the liquor store, at the drugstore, at Target, wherever. That place exists everywhere.
Oh, man, especially up here in Jersey, because, well, that's where the film takes place, too. I mean, up here in Jersey, that's where I worked. The supermarket's where I worked. Those were the conversations I've had. That is the way I was at work. I was rude and I was sarcastic to my customers because just like Randall says at the end of the film, I always thought I was better than them. So that's a reason this film was a huge success because it connected with a large portion of the society. Anyone who's ever jockeyed a register can look at this film and completely relate.
Definitely. It was a completely relatable movie, especially in the 90s where you weren't, our generation that was coming up even though I liked all those '80s John Hughes movies, I couldn't really kind of relate to them because I don't know. I just didn't live that life. I didn't live the life of a upper middle class, privileged rich kid. But I did have an after school job where I helped customers and things like that. So that was completely relatable, and that's why I love the movie. And I actually based a lot of my early personality on Randall Graves. Like people like when I'm they if I when I introduced the film to them, and they would see it after, and then they would tell me afterwards, "Oh my God, you're like that Randall character. You're almost like that's like you." And I'm like, "Well, yes and no, but that's kind of like I got a lot of my cues from that guy, like that character, because I don't know, I just liked the way he was going about his life, and it made me feel like I was part of the film in a roundabout way. So definitely, it's one of those movies that really touches you on a personal level, and that's why we're talking about it today.
That's right. It's funny. You said you based your characteristics after Randall. I always wanted to be a Randall. Always wanted to be the witty one with the quick comeback and super sarcastic. I ended up more like a Dante, constantly complaining and bitching about how I didn't want to be there, I shouldn't be there, or I wasn't supposed to be there, and just hating my life and complaining about how life was. And so I guess, and I know Randall's my favorite character in the film, and I can't stand Dante. But it's funny, I think the reason I can't stand Dante was because I am exactly, or was, like Dante back when I was a teenager and in my early 20s. So, without further ado, let's discuss the film, let's break it down, let's give a quick review. Now, the film opens up, and I always found this weird. The film opens up with the Dante getting a phone call from his boss. And in the scene, Dante falls out of the closet, and I don't get that joke. Like, I never really got it. I heard Kevin Smith explain it.
It's not a joke. It's just showing his like this guy's like a really sloppy like kid that just is just horrible. It's just a big fucking mess. He's just super sloppy and his life it basically represents his life. It's a giant mess that's going nowhere, and that's basically a metaphor for him for who he is. He's just everywhere. He doesn't know where to go. He doesn't know where his life's heading, and that's who he is. The metaphor for Dante.
Dante gets to the store, and immediately you see how shitty his day is. They gum up the locks, so he has to make up this sign with shoe polish.
Why do you smell like shoe polish?
Smells like shoe polish.
Who cares, you shoe polish smelling motherfucker?
What smells like shoe polish?
Something smells like shoe polish.
It smells like shoe polish. Yeah, that was
You shoe polish smelling motherfucker. That was one of my favorite lines of the film.
yeah, that was.
Then he immediately gets pelted by cigarettes, and in comes Dante's hero and his savior.
They weren't lit.
Here comes Dante's hero and savior, his girlfriend, Veronica, who, honestly, I love the character. Like, I really love the character. And I wish I had a girlfriend like that.
The Veronica character seemed like kind of a nag at the time when I saw this as a very young man. Now that I look back at it, I'm like, oh my God, that girl is like amazing. Like that's a keeper. But of course, I mean, we're talking about Dante here, who is a 22-year-old slacker who lives at home and doesn't have any prospects. So of course, he's not going to appreciate her. He's not going to, look at her that way. So it's really funny to see that to see this movie again now in your 30s, and you're like, wow, like was I? Because I thought just like Dante, I thought just like Randall, and now I look back, I'm like, oh my God, was I really that asshole? Like I was an asshole because I hated Veronica. I thought she was a giant nag. And now I'm like, wow, she's amazing. Like, this guy's an asshole.
37. My girlfriend sucked 37 dicks.
In a row?
All right, so now enters our favorite character, Randall. Marco, tell us a little bit about Randall.
Randall Graves is is like the antithesis of Dante. He's also a slacker. He's the same age as Dante, but his personality is very different. He's very much like, fuck everyone else. I'm here for me, and if you don't like it, get the fuck out. And he does it with a smile on his face, and it's great. It's but the cool thing about Randall is that and Dante is that they have that, like, you know, that joke man, funny man, straight man dynamic. So they play off each other really well. So Randall would not be as funny or as witty or as cool if Dante weren't there to kind of, like, you know, depress the fuck out of everyone else. So
They introduced two of the most iconic film characters of all time. One of them is very quiet.
you mean Jay and Silent Bob?
Yes, one of them is very quiet, and one of them talks a lot.
Yeah, Jay and Silent Bob. Another comedy duo, another straight man, funny man duo.
Dante, next thing Dante knows is his boss isn't coming in at 12 o'clock like he promised. His boss actually went to fucking Vermont. But Dante has a hockey game today, so he decides to close down the store, go to the roof, and play a game of hockey. Which actually leads to one of the funnier scenes with Scott Mosier. And just totally punking Dante out on the roof. It's just another, like, this movie is nothing but constant failures for Dante. And the hockey game was just one of the bigger ones to me. It's not really, it also was the first time Kevin Smith put hockey in a movie, which he pretty much does in every movie. He finds a way to stick hockey into it. But this one, I think, poor Dante, like, really poor fucking Dante. Here he is, finally taking a risk, doing something ballsy, and you think he's going to get a little victory here? Gets taken away within 15 minutes. And in the midst of all this, Dante admits to Randall that he's been communicating with his ex-girlfriend, Caitlin. Caitlin, who has cheated on Dante numerous times in high school. 8.5 times. Half being that she thought she was cheating on Dante when she actually drunkenly fucked Dante. Which I think is just, that is so Dante. And he plans on breaking up with a supportive girlfriend, Veronica, to get back with Caitlin. And this is where Dante finds out that Caitlin is now engaged to an Asian design major.
I think all four of you had better sit down and talk it over.
All four?
You, Veronica, Caitlin, and Caitlin's fiancé.
So Dante is now butthurt because of this. Then he loses the hockey game, and now some old Jewish guy jerks off in the bathroom. And we'll get to that later on too. But just so you know, right after the hockey game, old Jewish man decides he wants to jerk off in the quick stop bathroom.
Yeah. I like the cartoons. They make me laugh. They draw some of the biggest titties you ever saw.
And that's where Dante finds out one of his ex-girlfriends died at the YMCA pool, which causes Dante to close down the store once again and attend her funeral. That doesn't go well. Next scene we see is Dante and Randall running away from the funeral home. I don't know if you've ever seen the animated version.
Yeah, I saw that a long time ago. Yeah, that was pretty funny. Like the lost scene of Clerks. It was fun. I personally don't like. I mean, it was fine, but I'm the type of person that, like, it's like once you shoot something, that's it. I don't like people going back and, like, doing other stuff like that. But that's just my pet peeve. I don't know. George Lucas basically made me hate that type of filmmaking where you have to revisit something even if it's fine, even if it's good. It's just like this. I'm just like, just leave it alone, man. You did it. It's good.
You know what? You just we're gonna review The Phantom Menace one of these days because I'm sick and tired of people hating on that movie.
I don't want to do this fucking recording in my fucking bathroom because that's where it's gonna fucking lead me. I don't want to get like poo particles on my keyboard and shit. Like, no, I'm good.
No, we're gonna review The Phantom Menace because I love that movie. All right, fuck all you Star Wars fans. I actually like the prequels. The guys come back from the funeral, and Caitlin comes in, and she tells Dante that she really didn't want to get engaged to her Asian design major boyfriend. That her mother kind of just leaked it out there, and that she was gonna break up with her Asian design major boyfriend, and she wanted to get back with Dante, and they planned to go on a date, which leads Dante to go home and Randall to watch the shop.
Oh, hey, Caitlin, break his heart again this time, and I'll kill you. Nothing personal.
Once he delivers that line, you kind of start rethinking about everything you've seen so far in the film, and you realize that Randall isn't a bad influence on Dante, but Randall is just trying to help his friend.
Yeah, it shows that he's really faithful. You know, he's really true to his friend. So that was really sweet. Randall's still Randall. He's defending he's trying to like help his friend, but he's still trying to help his friend while watching, you know, tranny porn. Chicks with dicks, best of both worlds.
So Dante comes back into the store, speaks to Randall while Caitlin is in the bathroom. Caitlin exits the bathroom positively glowing, and she's grinning from ear to ear. And both Dante and Randall are wondering why. And she tells them that Dante just basically ravaged her in the bathroom, and that she's never had sex like that with him before. Only problem was Dante wasn't there. So who the fuck was Caitlin fucking in the bathroom?
Who is he?
I don't know. He just came in and asked to use the bathroom.
A dead Jewish guy. And this makes me wonder, how bad must Dante be in the sack that a dead Jewish guy fucked his ex-girlfriend better than he ever has? So Caitlin gets carted away with the old Jewish stiff and Willem Black, and Dante and Randall once again have one of their heart-to-heart talks.
I'm stuck in this pit, working for less than slave wages, working on my day off. The goddamn steel shutters are closed. I deal with every backward-ass fuck on the planet. I smell like shoe polish. My ex-girlfriend is catatonic after fucking a dead guy, and my present girlfriend has sucked 36 dicks.
37.
And tells him, you know, if you're going to break up with Veronica, then break up with Veronica. If you're going to get back with Caitlin, then get back with Caitlin. But just stop wasting your time and stop sitting here bitching and moaning about who you want and what you want. Just do something. So Dante decides nothing. He decides absolutely fucking nothing. Until Silent Bob breaks it down for him.
You know, there's a million fine-looking women in the world, dude, but they don't all bring you lasagna at work. Most of them just cheat on you.
Come on, limp dick.
Yeah.
He's right. I love her.
Yeah, he's kind of a fucking idiot, and like I said, I was more of a Randall kind of guy, but I can still relate to Dante in a lot of ways. But looking back at it, I was like, wow, I must have been an idiot if I could relate to him, because he was just like a sensible guy. He had a very kind of calm, like almost like endearing personality, and that so kind of like made him like seem like a nice guy, but he wasn't a nice guy. He was kind of a dick. He was a dick to his girlfriend. He was a dick to his best friend. He kind of disrespected himself, and at the end of the day, he was the protagonist of the film, but he's also like his own worst enemy. He was his own antagonist. It was a man versus man type of like a film, and he, like I said, he was his own worst enemy. Everyone's out there trying to help him. He's shooting himself in the foot.
I think, okay, so at this point, Dante decides Veronica's the girl for him. Unfortunately, much like every other decision in his life, Randall already spoke to Veronica and told her that Dante wanted to break up with her.
Veronica, I love you!
Fuck you!
And then Dante returning the favor and beating the shit out of Randall in one of the funniest food fights I've ever seen. And actually, the one part that stands out is where Randall just picks up like a loaf of French bread and just smacks
That's over the head and it hurts him.
The way Randall, I'm gonna use a wrestling term, the way he oversells that hit and just like flops to the ground. I keep watching that one hit over and over again. Eventually the two realize and the two discuss, and that's where Randall basically breaks it down to him. It's like, Dante, you're so full of shit.
Well, if we're so fucking advanced, what are we doing working here?
I've seen this movie a lot, but I think when I watched it last week was the first time that really made sense to me.
Yeah, that's what me and my girl were talking about that about a day or two ago. I was like, I just told her, listen, I hate my job, all this same shit that everyone says, but I realized I am where I deserve to be. Everyone is in the position that they are, and they deserve to be there. No one is better than where they are, and if you think you're better, then fine, but you have to make the moves to make it better. But in the meantime, you are where you are because you deserve to be there, and that's the lesson that Randall was trying to impart on Dante. Like, listen, you're not smarter than anyone else. You're not better than anyone else. You are where you are because of you, and you're as good as a convenience store clerk, and that's who you are right now, and that's fine. But don't think you're better than anyone else, and that. Now in my 30s, I'm like, wow, that really resonates now, because I'm like, wow, at the time, I'm like, whatever. I just thought I was hanging in there for the dick and fart jokes, but now I'm like taking away the life lessons from it. I was like, wow.
In the midst of all this, of all this ridiculousness, of all this tomfoolery and slapstick, there is something to learn. There's a lesson there, and that's how real life works. Real life isn't always a fucking melodrama, and real life isn't always a slapstick comedy. Real life is a mixture of both, and I think Clerks was one of the best films at doing that. It was the perfect film for us when we were in our 20s, and I think it
was our Citizen Kane.
And I think the problem was we didn't understand it when we were in our 20s. We just thought it was funny. Here we are, like, honestly, I saw this movie for the first time. I was, I think, 23, 24 years old. 23 years old. And like I said, that movie was the perfect movie for me, because at that point I was working at a fucking movie theater of all places. So I was going through kind of the same things, the same types of customers, jockeying a register. I was a shift supervisor, so I thought it was really important. I was going through all that. And the funny thing, I missed the lesson. I completely missed the lesson. For the past 13 years, I missed the lesson. And that lesson is, stop complaining about where you are in life. That's where, like you said, that's where you're supposed to be. All right, but that is it for Clerks. Mario, why don't you close this out? Tell the people what...
Who the fuck is Mario? Did you call him Mario again? Fuck you. Dude, we did the Super Mario thing last time. What the fuck are you doing, man?
That is it for Clerks. Marco, close us out. Tell the beautiful people. Oh, actually, before we close out, let's not make the same mistake again. Let's rate this film. All right? Yeah. In honor of Clerks, I think our rating system should be 37 dicks. And all right. While I did love the film, there's one thing this film didn't have that actually Quentin Tarantino mentioned in one of the bonus features in Clerks 2, was that this film didn't actually have a storyline. It was literally a bunch of scenes kind of just put together. There wasn't really, like, You didn't have a main character who had this goal and he had to overcome all these obstacles and finally achieve his goal. We didn't get that. This film was not that. This film was pretty much, this is my life. This happens at this time. This happened at that time. Such and such. These are all the funny things that happened to me today. That's it. So, because of that, I can't give it the perfect 37 dicks. But since it is a great film, it's kicked off the career of my favorite director and a man I've idolized for the past, 17 years. I give this film 36.5 out of 37 dicks.
Who the hell has the half dick? What are you talking about? 36.5 dicks. Like, it's 36 guys and like John Wayne Bobbitt. What the fuck are you talking about? 36.5.
The Asian design major.
Zang. Past tense. No, yeah, it's to me, fuck Quentin Tarantino. I love that guy in his movies, but let him fucking talk about his own fucking movies. Who cares? Of course, it didn't have to have. What is it? Script writing class? You gotta have a beginning, middle, end, and it has to have this turning point, that turning point. Who cares? The movie worked. You were thoroughly entertained from beginning to end, and you cared about the characters. You cared about what happens to them. There's no such thing as a perfect movie, so that's the way he does his fucking films are all fucking out of whack and in reverse order and shit. Like, who the fuck is he talking about? Like, beginning, middle, end. His shit's all fucking end, middle, beginning, then somewhere. Like, fuck that guy. So, but of course, nothing's perfect. I remember a couple scenes with a couple of boom mics in the shots and etc. Blah blah blah. But that shit's forgivable because you're like, this is a fucking entertaining movie. So I'll give this 35 dicks and a dead Jewish man out of 37.
So does that count as half the dick? So are you giving it 35 and a half at that point? Because it's not really a live dick. But
it's still hard. So it's something.
It's hard all the way. Yeah, okay, so you know what? Fine. So I guess you give it 35 plus a dead Jewish dick out of 37.
All right. So thank you everyone for everyone. Thanks, Guy.
His name is Chris.
Thanks. Thanks, Chris. Thanks for sticking around to the end. Join us next time. We'll be reviewing the sequel, or it's not a sequel. It's the next film to his sophomore attempt. Kevin Smith's sophomore attempt, which is Mike's favorite, Mallrats, which is actually one of my favorites because it introduced me to this whole Askew universe, or what do they call it? Askew universe, right?
View Askew.
So,
yeah.
View Askew universe, whatever you want to call it. So yeah, it's Mallrats, which is actually chronologically takes place a day before, or a couple days before Clerks. So that was kind of an interesting tie-in to his first movie.
And Willem Black is also in this movie, but 200 pounds heavier.
Oh, right, yeah, because they have
Ethan Suplee.
Ethan Suplee as the same character, but he's 300 pounds heavier than Scott Mosier will ever be. And then 2-3 days after, he's in Clerks, but he's chopped in half. But whatever, man. It works, man. Don't even go there.
All right. Well, that's it for this week. Until next time, little duckies. Peace, bitches.
Peace, bitches.
Peace, bitches.
I had the feeling that Jay, the character, was like that at home when he's making a waffle. He's just yeah, fucking waffle, man. Fuck it, all that shit.